Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a movie review. This movie is a drama from Japan, Japanese language English subs, released in the year 2011, directed by Shion Sono, and this film's called Himizu. Now Himizu takes place after the devastating tsunami that hit Japan, and you've got Yuichi and Keiko, who are young Japanese teenagers who are trying to make sense of what's just happened. So Yuichi has been abandoned by his parents. He is a young male who is struggling to cope with the way his life has turned out. His parents say that they wish he was dead, that why doesn't he just kill himself, so he's been put in a really bad situation. And he finds a companion in Keiko. Now Keiko has similar problems in her life. Her parents have also abandoned her, and so they band together and they try and make each other's lives better. So Keiko on one hand wants to make something out of their lives. She wants to set up a boat shop because they live by the water, and she wants to make a living by renting out boats. But Yuichi is just really sour. He's very bitter about what's going on, and he sees his sole focus in the world is to make evildoers pay for what they've been doing, and that's what he's going to do for society. He's going to make these evildoers pay. He's going to vent out his frustration against them. But on the other hand, Keiko is trying to convince Yuichi not to go down that path, in fact to be happy that they have each other and to try and make a brighter future. So whether or not Keiko can convince Yuichi to go down a bright path, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Himizu. As far as Shion Sono is concerned, this guy is a really well-known director, and he's made films that are supposed to have been very, very good. But when it comes to Himizu, not many people talk about this one, so it's very much the under-the-radar kind of Shion Sono film. And this is my debut experience with Shion Sono. So when it comes to Shion Sono, a lot of people will say to start off with Suicide Club or Cold Fish, the more well-known films. But Himizu was my first taste of Shion Sono. So for that reason, based on the fact that he's a very good director, I had high expectations, but unfortunately those expectations were not met in Himizu. Now yes, it does have a very good backdrop. It does have a very good side story of living life in very harsh conditions after the aftermath of a tsunami. So you know, these natural disasters do happen, and it's very heartbreaking to see that these young people are being put into such a situation that not only were they suffering, but the whole country was suffering. So it is a movie about life after, you know, such a traumatic event, and it doesn't necessarily symbolize just a natural disaster. It could symbolize other things such as cancer, or you know, these very traumatic life experiences that make us different people. And that's what the movie ultimately wants to do, is show you that these two central characters were not necessarily bitter people to start with, but because of the circumstances that they've been thrust into this new way of life that has made them ultimately the people that they are. And that does double with, you know, cancer. For me, cancer was something that changed me forever, and so I could connect to these two characters, not based on the fact that I've experienced this natural disaster, but the fact that I've experienced a traumatic event. So that is what made me warm up to these characters, and I felt their pain. I felt that when they didn't fit in, I felt that myself. So a lot of other people will feel that connection based on the fact that they've had traumatic experiences. So the movie, it has that recipe, it has that backdrop, and that overall sense that these people are struggling to come to terms with what's happened. But unfortunately, somehow Shion Sono makes this as uninteresting as possible. That backdrop of the tsunami, you know, the traumatic event that's completely devastated the country, it doesn't feel like it comes into play. And it doesn't feel like these characters really go anywhere. You don't really feel sorry for them based on the fact that you like them as people. You feel sorry for them because Shion Sono has thrust and bombarded you with all of this negative material. And ultimately what it comes across is not a movie about, you know, the condition of the human spirit. It's more about self-pity. It's wallowing in its self-pity. You know, feeling sorry for itself time and time again. So you're not feeling sorry for these as people, you're feeling sorry because of a reaction. So for example, at the start of the movie you've got the devastation, and Shion Sono is focusing on that devastation, but then he forgets about the devastation, and it goes along into this soap opera kind of drama, and then it hits you again with pictures of devastation. It's pretty much the exact picture that you get at the start of the film. So it feels like the director's forgetting what he's doing, and then all of a sudden you're saying, yes, I remember what I'm doing devastation, I'm doing how to live life after a traumatic event. So he's put that same scene in the middle, and then it goes on and on and on, and then he'll do it again. So it feels like, yes, it's losing focus, and it has to remind you time and time again of what it wants to be. And ultimately what it wants to be is, as I said, that traumatic event that changes people. But it just feels like it loses focus. It feels like a director that has an attention problem. And that's not something you would associate with Shion Sono, well, me anyway. The amount of hype that this guy has got, I was expecting Himizu to be a lot better than it actually was. Now, as well as reminding you of the devastation, it's also reminding you that you should be feeling sorry for these characters, in the fact that no, you don't like them as people, but what other people are doing to them is what's gaining your sympathy. But it's very paper thin, because you don't like them as people, because you don't get enough, detail in these characters. You feel sorry for them for a very shallow reason, and that reason is because the parents are saying, I wish you were dead, why don't you just kill yourself? And you think to yourself, that is barbaric to say that. But then Keiko's parents say the exact same thing, so you're losing sense of realism. You're thinking that Shion Sono is just throwing all this horrible material on these characters to substitute for something a little bit deeper. So then as the movie goes along, when these people aren't saying really bad things to them, they start to go down this path where you're starting to forget that you should be feeling sorry for them. And that is down to the fact that the characters aren't drawn into enough. And I thought they were very paper thin. The relationship between Keiko and Yuichi should have been very strong. It should have shown you the condition of the human spirit. But because Shion Sono is cutting corners, it feels like he's cutting corners, he just bombards you very suddenly with these really horrible material, and that should substitute, feeling sorry for them. But then it runs out, because, as I said, because they're very paper thin, when these bombarding, negativity is not happening, you forget about it. And then by the halfway stage, you think to yourself, well, I'm starting to get a little bit sick of this, it doesn't have any depth, and it's starting to go along at a very, very tedious pace. And by the end of it, you're just thankful that it's finished. So as well as the repetitive nature of the nastiness, you've got the soundtrack, which is a very mellow orchestral piece that has been repeated over and over and over and over and over until the point where you notice it and you think to yourself, either Shion Sono has given up trying or he's run out of a budget. So the movie just doesn't feel like it goes anywhere. The characters, the relationship between Keiko and Yuichi is interesting at first, but then the characters and that story of being there for each other, it just doesn't feel like it's the center point anymore. It just feels like it's just floating along. And it should have finished 30 to 40 minutes before it actually does. And I just felt that it became a complete mess, and it's not the sign of a very good director for me, because it had the ingredients, but it felt like a director that was just starting out, as opposed to a director has made a name for himself. So Himizu was probably the worst start I could have made for Shion Sono. There were likable qualities, as I said, that overall traumatic experience and how people are changed because of that, but it doesn't feel like it utilises that. It doesn't feel like it makes it a film that is worth watching and that will make you think. Basically what it does is make you relieved that it's all over. So overall for Himizu, I'm only going to give it 1 star, and it is definitely not coming recommended. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.